There is a country where a crater in the desert has been on fire for over 50 years, where the president renamed the days of the week after himself, where entire cities were built from white marble and almost nobody lives in them. The internet is blocked. Tourists are turned away. Cameras make people nervous. And underneath all of this, one of the biggest gas reserves on the planet. This is Turkmenistan, one of the most closed, most controlled, and most forgotten countries on Earth. And what is really happening inside is stranger than anything you have seen before. Turkmenistan. Most people cannot find it on a map. It sits in Central Asia, landlocked, dry, bordered by Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Iran, the size of Spain. But only 6 million people live here. For decades, the world ignored it. When the Soviet Union broke apart, this desert nation woke up sitting on one of the biggest natural gas reserves on Earth. That kind of wealth should have changed everything. The wealth stayed at the top. The people got nothing. Instead, one man took control and built something the world had never seen, not just a government, but an entire country designed around one person's face, one person's name, one person's ego. The world knows Turkmenistan for 3 things: a burning crater in the desert, a marble capital city, and the president. But none of that tells you what this country is really like inside. Every country has something that makes it stand out. Turkmenistan has everything all at once. Start with Ashgabat, the capital city. It holds a Guinness World Record, the highest concentration of white marble buildings on Earth. Entire streets, all white, all marbled, all built to impress. But walk those streets at night and they are empty. Just fountains running, lights glowing, and silence. A city built to look powerful, with almost no one inside it. Then there is the fire. The Darvaza Gas Crater, a hole the size of a football field, burning since 1971. In the middle of the Karakum Desert. Locals call it Gapgapan, the door to hell. Standing at the edge, looking down, you understand why. But what truly separates Turkmenistan from every other country is not the marble, not the fire. It is the control. The government decides what people read, what they watch, what they say, even what color car they drive, white only. For years, because the president preferred it. And yet, tourists who get inside describe something unexpected. Warmth, kindness, people quietly proud of their land, a government that controls everything, a people who somehow hold onto their humanity inside it. That tension is what makes Turkmenistan impossible to look away from. Turkmenistan does not look real. It looks like someone designed it on a computer and then forgot to add the people. Start in Ashgabat, but this time, go deeper than the marble streets. There is a building here shaped like an 8-pointed star. Inside, a museum dedicated entirely to Turkmen horses. Not just any horses. The Akhal-Teke, one of the oldest and rarest horse breeds alive. Their coat shines like polished gold in sunlight. Locals say they are not just animals. They are national pride, living symbols of Turkmenistan itself. A few kilometers away stands the Monument of Neutrality, a giant 3-legged tower with a golden statue on top, the former president. Arms open, rotating slowly to always face the sun. It was moved, rebuilt, and made taller just because he wanted it more visible. Drive north, into the Karakum Desert. 90% of Turkmenistan is sand and dry earth. And somewhere in the middle of all that emptiness, the ground opens up. The Darvaza Crater. Up close, it is not just big. It is overwhelming. The heat hits your face before you even reach the edge. The sound is a low, constant roar. At night, the sky around it turns orange. There is nothing else for miles. Just fire, sand, and silence. Go further, to the ancient city of Merv. 2,000 years ago, this was one of the largest cities on Earth. A stop on the Silk Road. A place where Persian kings walked, where scholars studied, where trade from China met trade from Rome. Today it is dust and ruins, crumbling walls, empty arches, a ghost of something once enormous. And then there is Turkmenbashi, a city on the Caspian Sea, named after the former president. It has a man-made beach, a cruise port, and hotels built for tourists who almost never come. Standing there, looking at the Caspian, calm, wide, and endless, it feels like the beginning of a world that never quite started. These places exist. Right now, most of the world will never see them. Step away from the marble. Step away from the monuments. And look at how ordinary people actually live. In Ashgabat, mornings start early. The smell of fresh bread, called korek, drifts from small bakeries before the sun is up. Men sit outside drinking chai from small glass cups. Children walk to school in neat uniforms. Everything looks calm. Everything looks ordered. But look closer. The average worker earns less than $400 a month. In a country sitting on enormous gas wealth, people queue for subsidized flour and oil. In recent years, shelves ran empty. Lines formed outside banks. The economy quietly cracking while the marble capital kept shining. Outside the cities, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. In the villages called obas, life moves differently. Mud brick houses, dirt roads, women weaving carpet by hand, tradition passed down for centuries. The Turkmen carpet is so important, it has its own national holiday. Electricity cuts happen. Running water is not guaranteed. Medical care far from the capital is basic at best. Yet something survives in all of it. Hospitality. Deep, genuine, almost stubborn hospitality. A stranger who arrives at a Turkmen home, even unannounced, will be fed, will be given tea, will be made to feel like family. No government policy has managed to erase that. A country that controls everything on the outside, but cannot control what happens around a dinner table. Turkmenistan is ancient, thousands of years old, and its culture somehow is still alive inside it. The most visible sign is the clothing. Turkmen women wear long, richly embroidered dresses called kurt. Deep reds, dark greens, gold thread stitched by hand. In a country full of white marble and government uniforms, the women's clothing is the most honest burst of color you will find. Men wear the tulpek, a tall, thick sheepskin hat that looks almost impossibly large. In winter cold or summer heat, it stays on. It is not fashion. It is identity. Then there are the weddings. A Turkmen wedding is not one day. It is sometimes 3. Families travel from distant villages. Tables fill with plov, a rich rice dish cooked with lamb and carrots. The smell of it heavy and warm in the air. Music plays live. The dutan, a long-necked string instrument, fills the night with a sound that is impossible to describe and impossible to forget. Guests bring gifts. Elders are seated first. Every step of a Turkmen wedding follows rules older than the country itself. And then there is Nowruz, the Persian New Year, celebrated every March 21st across Central Asia. In Turkmenistan, it is enormous. Families clean their homes from top to bottom. Special sweets are made. Children run through the streets. For one day, the heaviness of ordinary life lifts and something joyful takes its place. The government tries to shape culture, to own it, to put its name on it. But culture here runs deeper than any president's reach. It lives in the carpet patterns, in the wedding songs, in the way grandmother still makes bread the same way her grandmother did. Some things no government can rewrite. In Turkmenistan, food is not just eating. It is respect. It is history. It is how people show you they care. Start in the bazaar, the market, early morning, and it is already loud. The smell hits you first: grilled meat, fresh bread, dried fruit, spices you cannot name. Vendors shout. Smoke rises. Everything moves fast. The first thing you grab is samsa, a baked pastry stuffed with lamb and onion, pulled hot from a clay oven called a tamda. The outside is crisp. The inside is soft and rich. One is never enough. Then comes the national dish. Plov, rice cooked slow in lamb fat, with carrots, onion, and chunks of tender meat. It sounds simple. It is not simple. Every family makes it differently. Every region has its own version. Getting invited to someone's plov is getting invited into their life. On the streets, you find shashlik, meat skewered and grilled over open coals. The smoke follows you. The char on the outside, the juice on the inside. It is the kind of food that needs nothing else beside it. Now the strange part. Camel meat is common here. Camel sausage. Camel soup. Visitors are surprised. Locals are confused by the surprise. And then there is chal, fermented camel milk. Slightly sour, slightly fizzy, an acquired taste that most tourists try once and remember forever. For something richer, the Akhal-Teke horse culture means horse meat also appears on certain tables. Rare, traditional, not for everyone. And tea, always tea. Chai is not a drink here, it is a ritual. You do not pour your own cup. The host pours it, fills it only halfway, so they must keep refilling. Keep sitting, keep talking. A full cup means they want you to leave. A half cup means stay longer. In Turkmenistan, even the tea has manners. Turkmenistan should be one of the richest countries in the world. It is not. Under this desert sits the fourth largest natural gas reserve on the planet. Enough wealth to transform every village, every hospital, every school in this country. For years, the government used that money to give citizens free electricity, free water, free gas, almost free petrol. A deal that sounds impossible anywhere else. Then quietly, it all started disappearing. Subsidies were cut. Bills arrived. Prices rose. And people who had been told for decades that their country was strong felt something shift beneath their feet. Almost all the money comes from gas exports, mostly to China. One pipeline, one customer, one decision made in Beijing. Turkmenistan's entire economy depends on that single relationship. That is a dangerous place to be. The government controls almost every major business. The richest people are those closest to power. Their wealth stays hidden because showing it openly draws attention. Meanwhile, ordinary people face a different reality. Prices rise. Salaries do not. A teacher earns almost nothing. A doctor barely more. In Ashgabat, new towers go up. Glass and steel. Lit at night. But walk into the neighborhoods behind them, and you find families calculating every meal. Enormous wealth at the top. Quiet struggle everywhere else. And a gap between them that nobody is allowed to talk about. 90% of Turkmenistan is desert. And the desert is not empty. The Karakum, one of the largest sand deserts in the world, is home to creatures that have learned to survive in one of the harshest places on Earth. The Caspian cobra lives here, one of the most venomous snakes in all of Asia. Vast, aggressive, found in the dry scrubland where villages meet the sand. Locals know to watch where they step. The sand also hides the monitor lizard, growing up to 1.5 meters long. Ancient looking, slow until it is not. It has survived in this desert for millions of years and shows no sign of leaving. In the sky, the golden eagle, used for centuries by Turkmen hunters. Trained, trusted. A bird so respected it appears in the country's culture, its art, its history. But the most important animal in Turkmenistan does not live in the desert. The Akhal-Teke horse, bred here for 3,000 years. Its coat in sunlight looks metallic. Gold, copper, silver, like no other horse alive. There are fewer than 8,000 left in the world. Turkmenistan calls it a national treasure. The president has written about it. Statues of it stand in the capital. To harm one is a serious matter. In the Kopit Dag Mountains along the Iranian border, leopards still move through the rocks at night. Rare, almost never seen. But there. And in the Caspian Sea, the beluga sturgeon, one of the oldest fish species on Earth. Once so common, its caviar made this region famous. Now critically endangered. Still present, but barely. Turkmenistan's wildlife is quietly extraordinary. Hidden inside a country the world rarely looks at. Every country has a version of itself it shows the world, and a version most visitors never see. Turkmenistan ranks near the very bottom of global press freedom indexes. Journalists are guided, watched, and limited. Independent reporting simply does not exist here. Poverty is real, but invisible by design. The poor are kept away from the marble center. The capital must look clean, must look impressive. Tourists require government-approved guide at all times. Where you go, what you see, who you speak to, all managed. Political life here moves in one direction only. No opposition, no debate, no open disagreement. And yet, locals who meet visitors are warm, curious, eager to connect, but always aware of who might be listening. Two conversations exist in Turkmenistan. One for outside, one for inside. That gap between the image and the reality is the hidden story of this country. Turkmenistan holds a Guinness World Record for the largest star-shaped building on Earth. The president once ordered all black cars banned. White only, because white is the color of good luck. Smoking was banned in all public places, including parks, streets, and even your own doorstep. Ballet and opera were once banned. The president at the time felt they were unnecessary for Turkmen culture. Circus performances were banned for years. So were video games in public spaces. Ashgabat holds another Guinness record, the highest density of white marble buildings anywhere on the planet. Turkmenistan is not like anywhere else on Earth. It has deserts that burn, cities built from marble, horses that shine like gold, food that feels like a warm embrace, and a culture thousands of years old, still alive in every carpet, every song, every cup of chai. A new generation is growing up here, curious, hopeful, connected to a world they are only beginning to discover. And the country itself, sitting at the edge of its own future. Somewhere in the Karakum Desert tonight, that crater is still burning, still glowing orange against the empty sky. Still one of the strangest, most beautiful, most unforgettable sights on this planet. Some places refuse to be forgotten. Turkmenistan is one of them.